Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for taking time to attend my session. This is my first session, so if I'm a bit nervous, please excuse me. I'm very excited to be here and to present about Drupal caching system. And the session today will be practical technique for debugging Drupal cache problems. Short overview. We'll start with demystifying Drupal caching system. So nothing mystical there, but for me was mystic because it was the last thing I grasped about it. Next will be debugging toolkit, actually techniques that we can use and tools to debug cache problems. And the last part, practical debugging techniques, basically it will show in practice what is discussed in point 2. It will be kind of techniques plus demo. And we'll finish with Q&A session. A little bit about myself. I'm senior technical lead at Jakawa company. I'm over 20 years in the IT industry and working across different technologies and many projects. Started my journey with Drupal 2017 when I joined the community. And since then I work on very complicated Drupal projects with a lot of custom logic, multi-site. And what I'm about to show today is techniques that I grasped while I work on these projects. The company I work for is Jakawa. This is a data, AI, and experience based company, which is focusing on lasting impact on a global base. If you would like to learn more about, find out more about Jakawa, you can meet us on booth number 1. And if someone would like to connect with me, you can scan the QR code and I will be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. For the session today, I picked that quote, use the right tools, because I believe for any problems, we should use right tools. And let's go to the session. No need to spend time for the other things anymore. So first part will be about demystifying Drupal caching system. So I decided to start with first thing. It's cache bins. Cache bins are basically storage that keep the cached data. The storage can be different types, can be database, can be Redis, memcached, custom files. Within that storage, we keep cache bins. Cached bins are basically, each bin is used to store one specific data. In our case, I will look only database cache storage. We will not talk about Redis, about memcache. In our case here, you can see cache config is a table that keeps cache configurations, and this will be a table in the database. Each bin is basically a table in the database. Here on the very bottom, you can see how we can set up which cache bin in which cache backend is stored, which storage is there. So in settings PHP, we can use this array to tell, for example, page bin will be stored in database. Nothing stops us to keep different bins in different storages, as long as this meets our requirements. Default one is database, we don't need to specify it. Second thing is cache tags. So as we keep the data in the as we keep the cache data in the bins, we have ability to say this data depends on which tag, and as long as the tag is invalidated, then the data is also invalidated. Cache tags has syntaxes that is like that. Entity type ID, semicolon entity. For example, that will be not semicolon 1. If a data depends on cache tag not semicolon 1, and if I'm an editor and update or delete node 1, then the every data that depends on node 1 will be invalidated. That means tables that has rows cache tag, which has entry node 1, will be deleted, basically. We have ability to say also, you can see second one, node underscore list. That means if I edit any node, each data that depends on any node will be invalidated. We have also ability to say, for example, node underscore list semicolon article, or depends on any bundle. That means if I update article node, each data that depends on article will be invalidated. Here you can see very simple example how we can implement cache tags. Basically what we do, we call the cache backend, we call the cache bin, and then we have cache ID, data that wants to be cached, and the cache tags that we want to make this data depend on. And the method below, this is invalidate cache tag. If this method is called, it will invalidate the cache tags that are being passed like array. By default, by the way, Drupal out of the box, it handles this brilliantly, but we can get it wrong if we do some custom logic. Next thing, so we have cache bins that keep cache data. We have ability to say this data is dependent on different tags. And now it comes cache tags. The cache tags gives us ability to say this data can have different variation. For example, if I have language or different theme or per user permission or per user row, we can say for different user cache this table in different way. Cache contexts are also stored in database, but they don't have its own table for that. Here's also a very simple example how we can use it. Cache tags, unlike of, sorry, maybe it's too small. Cache, I will share after that the slides. Cache tags can be invalidated, but cache context cannot be invalidated. Here's how we can use. It's very simple, exactly the same way. We have a cache backend, then we use it to call a bin, and then we store in that bin our data by setting it. So we can say cache ID, the data, and then last parameter we can pass again array with the cache context. How we can use it? We call cacheability metadata. There is a method set cache context. We set the context, and we say this is my array, and we can say this cache the data. Cacheability metadata apply to this array, to my array, basically. Last thing, we have cache tags, cache context, but in the end, we can say our cache data actually can stay cached for a certain amount of time. And cache for that one is coming cache max age. Cache max age takes integer value, it's in seconds. So we can say, for example, you can see on the left side, we set cache ID, we put our data, and we can say 360 seconds, which means 1 hour. After passing 1 hour, the data will be again calculated and taken from database instead of from the cache. And the usage is exactly the same like before, but now we have cache, set cache max age, our array, and then we say this cacheability data applied to our array. And in the end is an example how we can use cache tags, cache context, and cache max age. We can use same method. We call cacheability metadata object, and we pass it cache context, cache max age, and cache tags to our array, and then we apply to. And that means if I edit node 1, then this cacheability data will be invalidated. But also it will be different by user row, and overall we will leave 360 seconds in the cache. Maybe here is the best place to say also that cache tags, cache max age, and cache context are also called cacheability metadata in Drupal. And also we have something more, cache bubbling. That means if I have a page with different blocks on it, cacheability bubbling gives us ability to take the cacheability metadata from the first block, from the second block, and then bubble it up, propagate it on the very top of the page. So the page knows what are cache tags and cache context that it depends on. Now debugging toolkit. Again, we start with cache bins. As I said, default one is database. Here we can see the bins. Actually, if you look at the database, we see this cache underscore entity, cache underscore menu, underscore data. Those are tables. And the cache bins are living in database. Basically, all the cache data can be looked inside those tables. And as already mentioned, it is each table, it's meant to keep specific data. As the data lives in database, how we can look on it by using tools that allow us to check database. Such a tools are UI tools like PHPMyAdmin, Adminer, but not only. Also, we can use SQL queries like directly in the command line. Each cache table has got at least those fields. First one is cache ID. Second one is data. Actually, is kept in blob format. Then we have expire time and tags and checksum. And one simple query. For example, if I have page for anonymous person, user, and I want to check if this page has been cached, what I can do, basically cache ID for that page will be the URL. And then I can say, give me whole rows from cache page where cache ID is equals that URL. And if I get result, then the page is cached. If I don't get, then it's not cached. And then we can work from there. Sometimes we can see the page is cached, but maybe there is other problems within that cache data. The other tool that we can use to check cache bins is a drush command. We have cache get, and then again for cache ID I can pass the URL space and I can say bin, and the bin won't be cache underscore page, but will be just page, and that will show me the data. Last thing, but not the least, is xdebug. What we can do, we can place a breakpoint and then can expect any bin that we need. For example, here we can say, give me render bin for that cache ID. Next thing is cache context and cache tags. Here, if you would like to debug it, of course, locally, we can use development.service YAML. We can enable it from settings.php. And we can include this array there. It must be all of it. And then first, under parameters, first one HTTP response debugging cacheability headers true. This means we can check for cache data and cache context and max age in the developer tools in the browsers. Second one, render.config. If you use that one and we put debugging true, that means we can see cache tags and cache context inside the HTML markup. And what we check in the browser, we can see xDrupal cache max age, xDrupal cache tags, and xDrupal cache context to go through the cache tags and cache context. Again, for that, We can use SQL queries, even though this is not the best way, but sometimes can save the day. It's again simple query. For example, if you want to check again cache page, what we can do, we can say select whole rows from cache page where tag is like, for example, not semicolon 1, but that will return all the rows and data that depends on that tag. Even though if sometimes you would like to see what is being cached, we can use the second one. We can convert data using UTF-8, and that will show the bool format in plain text, and then we can see what's being cached there. Similar for cache contexts, it's same thing, but cache contexts are stored within the data. So what we can do, we can say give me everything where has data like user, for example, inside, and it will return all the data that depends on that. But of course, it could be more precise because user may return a lot of things. And also, we can use same thing to get to see the whole data. And there is another method. It's even faster. I sometimes prefer it. We can do curl -capital I, and then we can specify our URL. We put a pipe and then say grep me x drupal -cache -tags, and from that grep me not semicolon 1. And if that returns anything, that means this page has cache tag which is node 1 and it depends on it. You can see the result below. Also, another way is to look into the browser using developer tools and check headers, but it's sometimes the tags are a lot and it's harder to look what we're looking for, even though they're, by the way, it's good to know that tags are ordered alphabetically. Same approach we can do for cache context. We can do curl and then grep Drupal cache context, and then from this result grep me, for example, user. And if it returns something, then we have what we're looking for. If not, then we don't have it. Another way is to inspect render array. We can put a breakpoint and check the render array with the key -cache, and there we can look for cacheability metadata, which is tags, context, max age. We can see if what we need is there. If it's not, then we can figure out why it's not. And the way to figure out is to check set and get methods. As I said, Drupal out of the box handles this perfectly. Just if you do something custom, there is an opportunity to get it wrong. Another way, here these ways are actually to invalidate cache tags. If you use drush cache tag node 1, that means this command will look into the database and will invalidate the whole rows that tag has entry node 1. And basically everywhere that we use node 1, that place will be invalidated, the tag, and will be recalculated next time from the database. We have programmatical way to do this. Invalidating tags. I already mentioned in the beginning. We just passed array with the whole tags that you would like to invalidate. Now we get to practical debugging techniques. This will be kind of like a demo. And we do basically what we see now, but in practice. I create 2 pages, and one is with correct cache data, the other one is with wrong. So I get it wrong deliberately. This one is correct one. This one is wrong one. What we're looking for here is that part. This is not title, Deep Mediterranean should be cuisine. And here as well. Basically, this page grabs the node ID title and places it here. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change the title of node 1 and we check what will happen. I've just cleared the cache, so it will take a bit time in the beginning. Let's say version 1. Let's save the page. And let's reload first incorrect one. Then the correct one. Okay, let's change it second time. Now, let's see if there is a difference now. And here should stay 1. Yeah. You can see this doesn't change. It means in our page, this page doesn't know that it depends on node 1, on cache tag node 1. So let's check. Let's use the first method. We're coming to database. And these are cache bins. Static pages that are for anonymous user are cached in cache page. If I click here, you can see I've hit it twice, only 2 pages after cache has been cleared. One is correct, the other one is incorrect one. But that pretends here are thousands results and I don't know. What I need to do. So this one, no, not this one. I was here, correct place. Let's check incorrect one first. So I can say where. Sorry, cache ID. I think the monitor is too high. That's a good thing. I made a mistake, but it's for good. Why I didn't get anything, because one thing that Drupal adds here in the cache ID is we should finish in semicolon. It's not only the URL. And here we have it. So yes, first thing is okay. We do have a result, but why the page is cached? Yes, indeed. But why it's not shown? So what I need to do here, again, to check. Press N or M. So we don't have result. That means our page does not depend on the cache tag, not semicolon 1. We can use another method also to check. Bring the ID. We can say drush cache get, and then we have ID, and our bin in this case is not cache page but just page. And now it's going to list me the data. All the cache tags that this page depends. And what we can do here, you can just grab it. And we have nothing. So this is different ways that we achieve. Thank you. So, okay. It's hard to see there. Thank you. But I guess the result will be same. Yeah. So those are just different way to achieve same thing. This way is preferable because going and looking into database is a bit hard. But if you feel excited about it, you can do it. Now, another one. Let's check the correct one. No, where is my? I think I got lost. This one. No, maybe just before to continue, I was about to miss something. As I told you, there is another way to check here in the browser. What we can go to network and delete here. And let's reload the page. This, by the way, will not create new entry. In here we can see the data that has been cache tags that this page depends on. And if we check here, as I mentioned before, this data, these cache tags are basically ordered alphabetically. We can check and see that if that cache tag that we're looking for is there, or we can just do Ctrl F and then do not one. So this is correct one. So we can basically see is here. Should be somewhere in the bottom after the view. I don't know if you can see it, I just cannot. Yeah. But if you look for same thing in this incorrect, network. Let's reload it. And here you not have it. Not much found. And this is possible if, as I mentioned, if we have this one. If this is true, we can check about this. Another thing that we can look into the cache tags in cache context is to have this second part, the second array. And I will show now how it looks. You can just do this and say view page source. And this one in green are basically cache tags and cache context, cache max h as well. This is very good for local debugging, but it's not acceptable and should not be done in production. And now just for to check the correct one, we can do same thing here, copy. T1. And there you go, we have result. And something interesting I can show you. Maybe it's not going to help you most of the cases, but sometimes you never know. You can say here, convert, and then data using UTF-8. And that in fact is the whole page that's been cached. All of it. So when Drupal retrieves this page for anonymous users, instead of look for many queries, sometimes there are thousands by the way, instead of do many queries, it just do only one and returns everything from here, which is faster. So this is the way that we find out when not one is updated, why we don't see changes in our page here. That means we should look in our code, in our custom code, and check maybe we didn't pass not semicolon 1, or we did something wrong in calculation. If Drupal do this for us, it is done perfectly. We're never gonna have such issues. But the issues comes when we do something custom and we get it wrong. So how we check for cache context? It's almost same. Cache contexts are here. But they're not that much. We can say X Drupal cache context, and we can check the context that this page can vary here as well. in database, we don't have a separate table for cache contexts. I can show you. It's a cache ID, data, expiration, and cache tags are here. If you want to look for cache context specifically, it is here in the data. It's most of the time you will not need it, but sometimes, maybe. And we can edit this query. You can say where. Let's see which one you're looking for. This is correct one. It doesn't matter. And you can see actually where this cache tag is used. Even though we can check here the blob and so on, just the method is the same. If you have cache bin, it doesn't matter if it's database, Redis, memcache, files, or custom. We can use tools and methods which are designed to access these bins, this storage. And that's pretty much all. This session is not meant to be very advanced. It's kind of explaining what is cacheability metadata, hopefully in a simple way, and also what's the methods to access it, check it, debug it, manipulate it if you want. And basically you can do whatever you want with it, just don't get it wrong. Maybe we can proceed. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Can you show us how you made the file page?
Yeah, it is.
Could you just repeat the question? Your question was it? Sorry. Yeah. Start call on recording.
Yeah. So my question was, can you show us your example of the wrong way of doing cache?
Yeah, it is not something. It's fairly simple. We have a correct one, and we have incorrect one. You can see here, deliberately, I did not pass node 1. It's just not there. But in the correct one, I just pass it by getting the rest of the cache tags, and to it I apply the one that I need. But what I did here, I just skip that part, pretend I don't care about it, and just do my logic. I don't care about the cache, and in the end, we get the issue that, by the way, if I would like to populate that page that hasn't get updated after node 1 was updated, I just need to clear the whole cache. And if I clear the whole cache, yes, I can see this populated. So every time if I'm not aware of that, every time I should clear the cache. And which we're gonna kill if it's a production website, it's gonna kill it almost.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the demonstration. So I just have a question relating to the bubble metadata. Can you show us an example of I mean, yeah, it's not here, but yeah, I would love to
Maybe
see.
we can catch up after that. I can show. I need to set up here the Xdebug, which is not. But if you want to debug it,
Of course.
you just press the, you put the breakpoint, and you grab the array, the whole render array, and then you can check the render array. For example, here or somewhere you can put in your code, of course,
Yeah.
or in any place, and you can grab the render array just before it's been thrown to the page, and you can have a look through the array. You should see on the very top level, you should see the whole cache stuff bubble it up, propagate it to the top.
Okay. Just to add something in addition to this, there is a module named Cache Review. This module is very useful for people to have a visualization of the page and how can we improve the caches. You know that module?
Yeah, there is a lot of models. Yeah, I'm aware. We just wanted to keep the talk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But if someone doesn't know the model,
Yeah, Cache
there's the
Review.
time to find out about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's all
problem, you're
from my
welcome.
end. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Hi, thanks for
Hello.
your your talk. Thanks. You can we can disable caching or specific cache bins in settings PHP, like setting to cache backend null. Do you know that there can be issues if you set the discovery cache bin to null for developing purposes? Because we have some issues then, some cruel issues. So I don't know. Is it okay to disable the discovery cache bin, or could it?
Discovery cache bins, as far as I'm aware, it's using for you start Drupal.
Plugins and so on, yes.
But better don't do it. So if you have problems, but in most of the cases, it's better to fix the problem rather than killing some of the parts or make it not working. So it's there because it serves its purpose.
A colleague of mine implemented this disabling this cache discovery bin disabling for development for the SDC, for single directory components. As I don't know exactly, but when this is cached, when these are cached and development, when you develop the components, you have to clear the cache always. So we disabled it for development, but we have some cruel issues that I don't know. Some subpages suddenly aren't available without any error message or so, any log. Could this be when we don't disable this discovery cache bin, then the problems are gone. So
Maybe some specific case that should be
maybe
looked on
some
it.
specific. Okay.
Yeah, but usually when you do development, it's good to disable the whole cache. By the way, even though if the cache is disabled, Drupal will continue sending the cacheability metadata, which will not take the place, but it will be set there for us. We can see it. But if you need to disable some of the caches in order for your system to work properly, even though in production, maybe you should look what's wrong. Maybe try to compare with what was before when it was working and what's different now. But of course, should be seen the problem, but in most cases, it's better not to do it.
Okay, thanks. I have a second question. You know the problem that currently the max age doesn't bubble up to the page cache? Do you know what's the progress there? And there's an issue. I don't have it currently, but
I saw it, but maybe it's not the time to get deep into it. At the end of the maybe let's catch up after that. I like caching stuff and such a.
Okay, so thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah. Everybody. Okay, no other questions? So just to remind you in the very end, this is the contribution opportunity. If you would like, get part of it. And also, if you don't mind, you can participate in a survey about my session. And thank you very much, everyone, again for attending the session. I appreciate your time and your patience. Bye. Thank you.